Ali Vaez, thanks for joining us again from the International Crisis Group. How important is it that Biden actually says what he said?
Well, it is important, but we also have to remember that President Biden has not been able to get what he wanted, a ceasefire in Gaza over the past 11 months. And also in the past few weeks, he had negotiated a 21-day pause in tensions between Israel and Lebanon that Prime Minister Netanyahu also ignored. And a lot of the attacks that Israel has undertaken that has put U.S. forces in harm's way have been done either without coordination with the United States or with very little advance notice. Remember that the attack, Iranian attack against Israel, both in April and also in October, were defeated largely because the United States got in the way and also helped shoot down a lot of those missiles. And so American forces were put in harm's way. But Prime Minister Netanyahu has a long track record of not heeding U.S. advice.
This disconnect between Washington and the Israeli administration, it is dangerous, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And the reality is that because we are so close to the U.S. elections, just almost 4 weeks away, Prime Minister Netanyahu knows that even the little restraint that existed in the past 11 months is probably not going to exist in the coming weeks, because the only powerful tool of leverage that the United States has, which is to condition the provision of weapons to Israel, it cannot really, it has been reluctant to exercise it until now, but definitely in the next 4 weeks is not going to exercise it because it would have political implications in a very tight electoral situation. And so that's why he feels that he has an open hand. And President Biden is obviously warning for very good reasons that an attack on Iran's nuclear program would not be wise. It would be the last straw that would push Iran towards weaponizing its nuclear capacity. Because remember, you cannot bomb away the knowledge that Iranian scientists have acquired in terms of their nuclear advancements.
Indeed, and one can only imagine the effect such an attack on Iran's facilities would have in terms of the local population, in terms of the regional population, because if you hit a nuclear facility, it doesn't just remain in one place, does it? It spreads.
Yes, well, some of these facilities are underground, so nuclear contamination might be limited, but nevertheless, for local people, there is definitely a risk. And that is why in international law, it is illegal to target functional nuclear facilities. Of course, neither that nor international humanitarian law seem to hold Israel back from pursuing what it sees fit. But look, the reality is that even if the nuclear facilities are not targeted, even if Israel, in a proportional manner, targets Revolutionary Guards sites or the country's energy infrastructure, Iran would be compelled again to respond and retaliate. And we would be in this ballistic missile ping pong, which risks resulting in casualties and fatalities on the Israeli and American side. And at some point, we will be in a full-fledged regional war that would simply have no winners.
Help us with this one, Ali. I'm wondering what can stop this escalating any further, because if Israel will not listen to what Washington says, and you've been very clear on that question already, especially when the US is paying something like $3.3 billion in military aid each year and has just added an additional $8 billion to that tally to help keep Israel armed. If that kind of money doesn't talk and is not listened to by the Israeli administration, what else can stop this escalating further?
Honestly, it's very hard to see that anybody else being able to pull the plug on this cycle of escalation, with the exception of the United States. I know it's hard to be hopeful, and there are now some voices in Washington having witnessed Israel's impressive tactical achievements in the past few weeks, and because of its intelligence and military superiority over Iran and its allies in the region, that some people want Israel to continue and finish the job or press its advantage as much as it can. But this is really the definition of overreach. And the United States itself has committed these kind of mistakes in the region. The wars in Afghanistan and in Iraq are a good example of that. But I'm still hoping that the U.S. would be able to, out of self-interest, to try to limit Israel in its response so that we can draw a line under this tit for tat and hope that after the U.S. elections, there will be more political pressure aimed at extinguishing the source of these tensions, which is really the war in Gaza.
Ali Vaez, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Ali Vaez is the director of the Iran research program at the International Crisis Group. Thank you for sharing your analysis with us here on France 24. Greatly appreciated. This